In this, our ongoing conversation, I'm going to share with you my top 5 picks for cleaners or pathogen killers that I always have on hand. You might have heard the concept of your desert island discs. These are, they would poll people and ask what are the 5 or 10 songs that you would want to have with you if you were stranded on a desert island. So this is my what are the 5 cleaners, 5 pathogen killers that I would want to have if I were stranded on a desert island. And it's not so far-fetched concept because this is also my travel essentials. Whenever I travel throughout Asia or anywhere, I make sure I have these on hand so that if I encounter any pathogens or bacteria or viruses or stomach issues or diarrhea or whatever, I have something that I can use to address it, particularly if I don't have access to the medical services or don't trust the medical services in a particular region. So I'm only going to introduce them briefly and just give a very, very short overview, because what I'd like you to do is actually look them up yourself, is actually do a search online, do a internet search and search for benefits of so-and-so. And I would like to empower you to actually be your own authority and get the information and feel comfortable using these products if you so choose. And I would suggest 2 things to keep in mind. One, as you do your search, probably the first sites that are going to show up are probably not the ones you want to pay attention to. And I say that because years ago when I did these searches, other sites would show up that are now not showing up at all. So over the years, what has happened is a lot of the major mainstream sites have started to monopolize the search engine rankings. So now when you do a search for what are the benefits of grapefruit seed extract, for example, you might not get, a health fanatic who knows what he or she is talking about. You might get the establishment website that tells you this has not been tested, it's not safe, or that sort of thing. So scroll down some more, go a couple pages in before you start to form your opinions. 2 sites that come to mind are curezone.org and wellnessmama.com. Maybe you can go directly to those and do some searches for some of these to find out. These are sites. CureZone is a site that caters to people who are doing their own self-healing and are sharing their results. And Wellness Mama is an individual who is definitely on the same path and same track that we are, with a healthy respect for natural remedies. So check those out. But anyway, the second thing I want to point out to you is that when you are reading some of these forums, keep in mind that the majority of naysayers, the majority of negative comments are going to be from people who have no idea what they're talking about. You're going to hear people talking about fasting who are saying, no, it's dangerous, you'll die. And these are people who have never fasted a day in their lives. You're going to hear about people who are saying that the parasites that you think you're seeing are actually from your intestinal lining walls. These are people who do not have parasites. So it hopefully will become clear over time that a lot of the information out there, especially the negative stuff as it relates to natural healing, is being put out by people who have no concept of what they're talking about and are simply just either repeating the party line, or they just are, evil-minded and just want to put out negative stuff because they don't want to have to face the consequences of being in control of their own health. So they have more faith in the medical establishment. But with that said, time is running out, so let me just go through really quickly the 5 things that I always have on hand. First, I'll start with grapefruit seed extract. Very small, as you can see, this by Nutribiotic. liquid concentrate. I put a few drops in this. This is very alkalizing, kills the holes. Most of these are antimicrobial, antibacterial, antivirus. So this kills a whole lot of stuff. It's also very alkalizing. Disease cannot grow in an alkaline body. The reason a lot of people are perpetually sick is because their diet makes their bodies too acidic. So in addition to killing a lot of microbes, the grapefruit seed extract also makes the body more alkaline, and I feel much better when I take this. Really quick, next one is I'll jump to eucalyptus oil. Sometimes I'll use tea tree oil or eucalyptus pretty much for the same thing. Sometimes I'll bathe with it. Sometimes I'll put a few drops, in my shampoo, put a few drops in soap. But also kills a lot of germs as well on the system. Next is oil of oregano. And this one, very powerful. I'll put a few drops under the tongue so it absorbs quickly. Really strong taste, and kills a lot of germs and viruses and bacteria as well. And the next two are a lot of the microbes that you're going to encounter in your system are going to be anaerobic, meaning aerobic means air and anaerobic means without air. So they survive in environments where there is not air. So if you introduce air into your system, and if you want a little background on that, you can check out my book, The Sweat Manifesto. Sweat stands for sunlight, water, earth, air, and time. And the air is introducing oxygen into the system. So one of the ways that I introduce oxygen into the system is through, listen carefully, food-grade hydrogen peroxide. And the most important thing I'll say about this is not the same peroxide that you get in a supermarket. Do not, under any circumstances, ingest the hydrogen peroxide that you'll get in a supermarket or a drugstore. It has to be food grade, and you'll likely have to order it online. So I ordered mine, and then I diluted. This is 35% grade, food grade hydrogen peroxide. Then I diluted, put a few drops in some distilled water, and I can use that to spray my face. I could use that to spray surfaces if I want to clean. So that introduces oxygen into the system. And the food grade, as the name implies, can be ingested. And there's a table in the book, in my book, A Clean Cell Never Dies, that actually gives you some guidance as to how to ingest it. But do some research on it, ask any questions first. And again, I'm not dispensing medical advice, but this is something that I do for myself on a regular basis. And finally, as our time wraps up, this one is sodium chloride solution. You'll look up something called MMS, Miracle Mineral Solution. And the way you create the sodium chloride is by combining sodium chloride with citric acid. So 1 drop of citric acid to 1 drop of sodium chloride, and you create this solution that creates a gas that is very powerful in killing germs in the system. Now, be very careful about this one. If you remember, during the early stages of the pandemic, people were being accused of ingesting bleach. In some cases, I'm sure there were people who were directly ingesting bleach, but I believe some of the reporting was talking about this sodium chloride, because the smell and the taste of it is actually similar to bleach. So you're going to run into a lot of controversy about this one. But this is something that I have on hand. I'm not telling you to take it, but sodium chloride is something that I use. So anyway, both those two, the sodium chloride and the hydrogen peroxide, introduce oxygen into the system. And in dealing with parasites, for example, I found those two to be the most effective. You can actually, there's no way that the parasite can resist an influx of air, oxygen into the system. It's simply, it's like drowning the same way you would drown in water. You know, the parasites cannot survive in air. So those are the 5 that I would have to have on hand if I were traveling, if I were stuck on a desert island. And one of the things that I will share with you now is my list of the top my desert island discs. Not that you tuned in for music, but I used to be a DJ, so I'm going to share with you now the 5 best songs ever written by a human being, bar none. There's no debate here. It's just what it is. Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears, In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, Waiting in Vain by Bob Marley, Hotel California by the Eagles, and I'm Not in Love by 10cc. Now, some of these will vary based on the mood that I'm in, but basically I will argue with well, there's no argument, it's just what it is, but there is no debate for the fact that these are the best songs ever written by human beings, period. All right, so anyway, just a little fun there. So those are some of my, first in a series of my top 5 pathogen killers, and I'll do some later on my top 5 protocols, top 5 products, top 5 herbs that I always have on hand, that sort of thing. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.